Everybody, great job. I'm so happy that we made it this far, still paying attention. This is the best season of fantasy football I've ever done, and hopefully same for you. We'll get better every single year. Before I go into the mountain of playoff situations that are upon us in the last week 14, I want to go over the DFL news. Here we go. So the update from week 13 last week is Yash and Patrick are officially eliminated from playoff contention. It's too bad, and it's surprising to see those two rosters out. Yash, it's weird to see Lamar Jackson out of the playoffs. Lamar Jackson teams usually make it, but he had a great roster. It just didn't shake out his way. And honestly, it's kind of nice to not have Patrick dominate a DFL or a Dsware sports league. Much more importantly, though, Drew is in the playoffs. She has guaranteed a playoff spot for her. We don't know what seed yet, but she is in no matter what happens in this last week. It's on the coattails of some great running back pickups that she made, especially with Corum. I don't know if she knew or if she read something, but Kyron Williams, who is a dominant force in the Rams offense and is their best running back, is splitting snaps with Corum, and Corum has gotten 2 touchdowns in his last 2 starts, and it seems like they're a dual running back team when they weren't. So she got a sneaky huge pull on that when she had some injuries, and she has a great team. She's in the playoffs. On top of that, she also has the best tight end in the whole league and a top 5 wide receiver who can get 1 million points in Jamar Chase, and the Bengals are fighting for a wild card spot, so she has a great chance to get a win in this first round of the playoffs. So congrats to Drew. Lastly, from week 13, there are no big injury losses for anyone on any team going into the playoffs. And Tristan, along with Cooper, has locked a bye spot. So no matter what happens, Tristan and Cooper get the bye, which if you haven't paid attention yet, that means they don't play for the first round of the playoffs. They are guaranteed a spot in the semifinals. Now that the update for week 13 is done and we know what happened, it's time to get into the vast playoff scenarios for what can happen this last week and who's fighting for these last 3 spots. For explanation's sake of what's going on, I'm going to include Noah and John in the conversation as an example, but John and Noah are pretty confirmed playoff teams. I'll explain why. So the tiebreaker for getting in the playoffs, because there's a very, very high chance a bunch of us are going to be tied. The tiebreaker for the better team is the points accumulatively scored throughout the season, right? So John's case for making the playoffs is if he wins, he is in the playoffs. If he loses, he will be 7-7, along with some of us 6-7 teams that will win. So if I, per se, am tied with John at 7-7 after this week, I would have to score 200 points more than him. More than what he scored this week in his loss to pass him, to leapfrog him in the standings, which, as you know, is kind of impossible. That's not really possible. For Gretchen, she'll have to score 350 points more than him. Same with Max. So John's safe. It's the same thing with Noah. If Noah, let's see, where is he? If Noah loses and goes 7-7, I would also need about 100. All of us would need about 100 more points than what he scored in his loss to be knocked out. It's very unlikely. It would have to be he loses 120-50, and then I win, 200-100. That's the only way for me to pass Noah or John. John has scored the most points in the entire league. So he's not getting caught. Noah's not getting caught. But Brandon can be. I think it's the 6-7s versus Brandon. If Brandon wins, he is in the playoffs. So John and Noah and Brandon would be the last 3. But if Brandon loses this week, here's how it would work. He would be 7-7. If I were to win, if I were to beat Max, I would have to score 21 more points than Brandon's loss to leapfrog him into the playoffs. If Max beats me, he would need to score 63 more points than Brandon's loss. So if Max scored 150 points in his win and Brandon scored 80 points in his loss, Max would pass Brandon. And then Taylor would have to score 15 more in her win and Brandon's loss, and Gretchen would have to score 71 more and Brandon lose, etc. I mean, not etc. That's it. That's all of it. So with Max versus me, whoever loses is out of the playoffs. But then whichever one of us wins, we would need Taylor and Gretchen, or both of them would have to lose, or the one that wins would have to get less points accumulatively than the person who won Max versus Simon. So it would be like Taylor is the closest one right now, but she would need to beat Drew, and then whoever Max, if I lose, well, okay, so she would need Gretchen to lose, and then the person that loses the Max versus Simon match to not score that many points. And then Taylor would need 15 more points than Brandon's loss to make the playoffs, and she would leapfrog him. But she already has more points than Max, so she would need 36 more points than me if I won. Gretchen needs a ton. If Brandon loses, she needs 71 more points than his loss, and then needs Taylor to lose, and then Gretchen would have to score 56 more than Taylor, and then if I beat Max, she would need to score 93 more than me, and if Max wins, she will need to score 8 more points than him, and this all still hinges on Brandon losing his so I swear to but it is 71 more points than his loss, and then needs Taylor to lose, and then pause it and look at the graphics I put up. Like, it's clear who needs more. If we're watching, I can explain it to you again. You should rewind and maybe watch it one more time.